cloud confusions and mistakes. I think it'd be interesting to share some instances or possibilities of what sort of confusions or mistakes the companies make as they deal with private cloud. Sam, have you heard of any, or where do you come across out there?
Yeah, when I think of confusions, I was thinking of the way Joe had his screen set up there. It was kind of like looking into parallel mirrors for a second. So I suggested this a bit earlier, but I think one of the biggest mistakes that companies make is just not thinking big enough. Cloud can be, a force for transformation, and it's very easy to get sucked into an incremental economic argument and make limiting choices, limiting in terms of architecture, personnel, resources, scope, all kinds of things, and I see far too much of that, and there's a true risk that a company goes down this path thinking that they're going cloud and they're going to get all the benefits, but they're not taking an aggressive enough approach to really keep pace with the opportunity and what the market will and can do with this technology.
Like they want to put one foot in the water first to see if the whole thing works?
I think there are companies that put one foot in the water as an element of diligence and validating a broader vision, but then there are companies that for whatever reason don't see much further than the few inches under the water line, and can't haven't really created a broader vision for how cloud and even more broadly than cloud, how the quote-unquote third platform, mobile, social, cloud, all these technologies, how these can truly impact not even just the business, right, but their industry. And I think that's a true opportunity for companies with this technology, and when it's not taken advantage of, it's an unfortunate mistake in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Joe, big mistakes, fumbles, confusions in private cloud deployments?
Well, it's tough coming right after Sam, but in fact, that's the topic of the new book is, as I mentioned, kind of looking at business strategies to leverage the cloud, mobile, social, big data analytics, and the Internet of Things. And that's kind of a broad, range of capabilities. And so, regardless of all the slides that I put up around economic optima and cost optimization, the point is that, you really need to think of it, as Sam says, in this much broader picture, which is how is this strategic? What am I trying to do with the business, and how do I deliver competitive advantage? And just to give you one example that I think really hits home and I've been using a lot, it's Nike and the Nike Hyperdunk Plus sneaker. You could say if you were, you're an old line, whatever they are, 40, 50-year-old, maybe more sneaker or athletic shoe manufacturer, that what's important is brighter packaging, celebrity endorsements, things like that. And what they realized is that they could compete effectively, and I don't have time to go into all of the different things, but with Hyperdunk Plus, the point is that there's multiple pressure sensors embedded in the sole. Those connect up through your mobile device to the cloud. That then is used for tracking and also being able to do things like link the exact sequence of moves you did to G-force acceleration, how high you jumped, etc. Even then being able to tag a video with that. So if you're taking a video of someone playing basketball, then you can tie their exact acceleration and jump height to the video because it's all time-stamped. So this now really transforms strategy from we've got to reduce our manufacturing costs by using cheaper rubber or offshore manufacturing and customer value proposition to look, you'll be cool just like this basketball star, into a whole new thing, which is we will make you a better athlete. And that's the cornerstone of our strategy, is to say we will help you transform and be the best that you can possibly be. And the way that they're doing that is by creating this digitally enabled strategy, of which the cloud is essential to that, because everything from the social networking, here are the races that I ran, the pace that I ran at, here's the routes that I run, this was my personal best, this was, I'm not using up enough Nike fuel or earning enough Nike fuel this week or today. So, it's really about that whole higher dimension of competition that ultimately is enabled by the cloud. And so, to Sam's point, and also to Michael's point earlier, just not thinking about it too much just in terms of I can save a nickel here or a dime there versus I can transform my business and gain strategic competitive advantage. That's probably the biggest mistake, is just treating it as technology or operations model merely.
Michael, big mistakes you see out there, fumbles, things people aren't realizing about private cloud?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that the most important thing is to have some type of strategy or perspective. Yes, you can do the cost analysis, and of course the cost analysis, like Joe and Sam said, is extremely important. But at the end of the day, if your goal with IT is to shave a percentage, right? It's percentage or 2 percentage points off of the cost, the aggregate cost of IT to the company, and that is your primary strategy as a CIO, quite frankly, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Because it might not be a cost savings.
Cost savings, hey, I'm not minimizing the cost or the value and the importance of cost savings at all. However, as Sam said, the real opportunity here is to think about how we can actually move the needle and change the game in some way for our users. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I was in a meeting the other day with a CIO and the senior IT leadership staff, and they're trying to figure out what to do with certain types of applications and so forth. And it was a discussion of features, functions, and business requirements, which is the kind of stuff of what IT deals with all the time. And the CIO, who's very innovative, she came across and she said, well, wait a second, what users want from us is an Amazon-like experience. They want a single portal, and depending on your role or your position or what have you, the resources that are made available then change. And it's that type of thinking, which is a broader thinking. How can we supply a different kind of IT experience, which really should be at the heart of how you're thinking about private cloud as well as other large IT initiatives. So it's not just a matter of shaving a point of cost out of IT. It's doing that, but at the same time, again, to use Sam's words, at the same time, thinking big, and how can we actually use IT as a strategic enabler inside the company to actually benefit the users and forge a greater bond with the users. Mm-hmm.
To put some numbers on Michael's point, just briefly, IT is on average 4% of revenues. And so if you say that you have 20% of your applications that you've moved over to the cloud, that's only going to impact 0.8% of revenues. And if there's a 30% savings, then which some people have found moving to the cloud, that's like a traditional planning number. You're talking about 0.2% maybe, right, of the overall revenue. That's not a board level, CEO level issue. And in fact, there's some great data from Sunil Mithas at the University of Maryland that he looked at 83 firms and found actually that there was a big payoff to IT. It literally was almost doubling your money, 1.91 to 1 improvement, and it was almost all on the revenue side. In other words, it's only meaningful on the revenue side, back to the way that this can enable strategic initiatives, either accelerated time to market, better user experience, an entirely new value proposition within the product, and so forth.